Hi guys, it's me Chad, back again with, you guessed it, another episode of ZooTube. If I keep doing that, you're gonna have to stop me, okay? We're gonna explore things important to you, like education and drugs, alright? Two things you shouldn't ever combine, but you probably have at this point.
Oh my god!
Today we're going to talk about a charming lady by the name of Natalie Wynn, who goes under the alias of ContraPoints. Very cool. You know, ContraPoints displays a valid concept, right? That you don't have to be a psychologist to understand people. She knows what she's talking about, okay? She gets into some topics that, you know, quite frankly, I wouldn't ever want to get near on this channel. Chairs making a noise. You know what else makes noises? I can make all sorts of sounds. This one is my favorite. How's that for a noise? You can collect all the sound bites at my website. I haven't made it yet, but when I do, you'll know where to find it. And there's nothing to fault her with, alright? She's just like any other tuber. She's gonna bring new ideas to the table. But let's just face it, I'm not really... No thanks. What is this, toys? Bring me toys? Well, check that out. Icelandic glacial spring water. Never really tried Icelandic glacial water, but thankfully my palate is so dry I can open this with confidence. You artistic person, you know what it's like to have high regard for fashionable tastes and maybe not receive the recognition you need from it. A guy like me, clean polos. I know a thing or two about good tastes, and right now I think I'm gonna give you a round of applause for having such great taste in these regards. I think you're probably one of the cooler people on the platform, for sure. I mean, I don't really have any qualms with anything you do, but I would say maybe we should get into the stunning topics of today's episode. Let's start off with academia, all right? Academia can be a tool, especially if you want to learn something, and in your own time, you can easily do this, right? You can look up the resources required to learn the skill you want to build on. Or maybe foundations of knowledge, right? Go to a library, check the internet. You're probably gonna find everything you need there. But people are rarely this motivated nowadays and generally want peer support and a good teacher. Completely understandable, right? I wouldn't want to do school without like having buddies. Now, this is another good point, right? If you don't have any buddies and you're trying to trailblaze college all alone, you're probably not gonna have a very good time. Loneliness is very dangerous, right? Because that is a segue into other areas such as depression. I wouldn't entirely dismiss school from your agenda, maybe something you can, will, or should do in the future. I think if you want to be a scholarly person, there's nothing wrong with that. All right, you do what you want to do. Now, if you're on the other end, all right, you don't want to be scholarly, you want to be like just a rogue, whatever, all right? Someone who's learning in their own time. You can absolutely learn everything in college, outside of college. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Obviously, don't be passionless in what you're doing. If you're gonna go there, go in with a can-do attitude, okay? That's what we need. The future of America. That's you, all right? And if you are finding yourself in a lonely position, here's my advice. Eliminate that problem as quick as you can, all right? If you don't have family in the area, you need to make a friend. Friends plural would be better, but if a friend is all you can get, that's better than nothing, okay? So maybe roommates, start there. If you don't have any roommates, clubs. Clubs, similar interests, that's an easy way to make a friend. You don't want to be in disparity in a college environment, all right? Being surrounded by people and feeling so alone is like torture. You probably have some experience with this, but I'm not gonna get into it, all right? You already know what you're dealing with. So the thing you need to do in college that is most vital for your success within the very beginning is to make a friend. People like me, like, you probably think maybe I make a good friend, but I'm just a tuber. That's all I am right now, all right? Just in the void, the cascade, screaming eternally, waiting for some echo, some response. You know, obviously these are topics ContraPoints covers in her videos, and it's gonna be psychiatry, all right? We're gonna talk a little bit about psychiatry and how this plays into everything else. If you're in school, you're likely gonna consider the idea of taking maybe an Adderall, some amphetamines. I don't really know what's on the table these days as far as, you know, over-the-counter medication is concerned. This is stuff you do not want to take, all right? Because not only can it permanently restructure the brain, but it can also cause a lot of mood problems, and you don't want mood problems. Mood problems leads to another thing, all right, like antidepressants. Antidepressants, I'm just gonna say this, do not take antidepressants. And I'm not here to fearmonger, okay? That's not the point. I need you to assess the risks here. A bad reaction to some antidepressants can put you through a tremendous amount of pain, and you don't want to experience that, okay? I'm drawing from my own experiences here, all right? So keep that in mind. You don't want to do this stuff. It's bad for you. You don't want to end up with schizophrenia because you took an antidepressant and had a bad reaction to it. And this stuff does happen. It happens all the time. It doesn't really go reported, all right? People think this is the be-all, end-all. And say it works. Say your antidepressant works. You're going to feel numbed. You won't have access to your emotions the way you used to. And that is going to be a torture cycle in itself. When you're on stuff like Adderall and this and that, it can amplify the way you feel. So if you're sort of in a depressed state, something like an amphetamine like Adderall or whatever you may take to get ahead in school is going to make that depression even worse, especially on a come down. You don't want that, all right? You really don't. Kids, don't start bumping Addies to get ahead in school. It's not worth it, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise, all right? Don't smoke stuff either, all right? Don't smoke anything. Don't eat stuff with stuff in it. You know, you're smart, you're capable, you're probably smarter than me, all right? Don't do this stuff. If you're taking anything, take one of these Icelandic glacial waters off the shelf. Hydration is key, especially in a learning environment. All right, so now we're gonna move on to something called the Win coefficient. You know, my scientists, they've been working hard around the clock, all right, coming up with concepts and ideas to describe these tubers in the most layman terms possible. I think they've come up with a real banger this time, all right, and I'm ready to share it with you guys. All right, so the Win coefficient. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. So figure 1 entails Natalie Wynn protecting us from ourselves. Note the amount of arrows she has taken, and yet she is still standing. The Win coefficient is simple, yet complex for beginners to grasp. The concept states that in times of hardship, Natalie Wynn is standing in front of us, getting shot by a bunch of arrows. Very admirable cause. Protecting us from all the terrible things in the world. She talks about these topics so I don't have to. YouTuber hierarchy of needs. Where are you gonna land? I think you'd be great at lateral ascension. You know, the orange sort of bordering top position of the hierarchy. Not a lot of tubers make it this far, but you got the fighting spirit in you. I hope you guys enjoyed this fantastic episode of whatever we just made. I'm sure it was a great one. As always, my name is Chad Chomsky, and I will see you next time. All right, hold on. Let me get real with you for 1 second. I'm having a bad time. I can't always say this. Obviously, when a tuber is having a bad time, either they're kind of overbearing with it, or I'm not having a good time. I'll be honest with you. Hopefully things change. Things always do. There's nothing you can do about it. Yeah.